loading up environment variables, loading the Meteor settings JSON file, and then starting your application differently in development and in production can start to get pretty cumbersome pretty quickly. So to help with that, I wrote a simple script called a start script that we can use to help manage the start process of our app in different environments like development, test, and production. The code is publicly available and you can find it and clone it from this link here. It's meant mostly as an example, so if you wanted to take this and run with it as a project or customize it to fit your own needs, you can go ahead and do that. Taking a quick look at the source code, and we can see that this is a bash script intended to help us out a bit. And if I scroll down, you can see some of its primary options here, like the help flag to get help, checkout to use a Meteor checkout, an environment for different types of environments like development, test, or production, and even a packages option for specifying other package folders outside of our project. And if we scroll down a little bit more, you can see the start command, which helps us to start up our app differently depending upon whether we're in production or in test or development. The other thing this script does is helps us to load our environment file and our settings file. So let's clone the project and take a look at how it works. Since this project is intended just as an example, I'm going to clone the GitHub repository directly into my source folder. If I change into Meteor Start, you can take a look at the start file there, and then you can also modify it to fit your own needs. Now let's go over to our application that we've been working with and add this start script as a symlink. Inside of my to-dos project that we've been covering in the rest of the class, I have my app directory for the Meteor app, a build directory for any production builds, and then the config directory that has my environment and settings files for various environments. And here's a better view of that configuration directory with settings and environment files for each of our development, production, and test environments. Now what I'm going to do is symlink to that new start command, which will help us to start the application in development and production with these various files and options. So inside of the project, I'm going to use the ln command with the -s flag. This will create a symlink. And I'm going to symlink to source, Meteor start, and then start. And we're going to symlink that to a file called start here. So now notice that we have this start file inside of our project directory. Now it's not inside of the Meteor app, it's in the overall project directory. Now you'll want to make sure that this file is executable so we can use it as a bash script, and so check for this these X's here to say that it's an executable file. So the first thing we'll do is we'll just start up our application like normal, and to do that we can just use the start command by itself. So I'll just say start. Now what this will do is it'll load up our settings in our environment file and then start up the app using the Meteor command line tool. Now let's say we want to start up our application using a get checkout of Meteor. So to do that, we can provide a new flag to the start option, which is checkout. And this will look for the Meteor get checkout and start our application with that. Now this requires that there be a Meteor _ source environment variable set that looks like this with the source location of Meteor. But by default, it assumes that Meteor is located in source Meteor, and it will use this tool here. Now I'm getting a conflict here starting the application with my version of Meteor because I have a version of Meteor that doesn't work with this application. But this would normally start the app using a get checkout of Meteor. Now let's say that we've bundled up our application using the Meteor build tool, and that exists here under the build folder and then a bundle folder. And so we would do this if we were preparing our application for production. We can use the start script to start up a production app as well, just by setting the environment to production. This time I'll type start and then the --env for environment, and we'll start the application in production. Now in order for this to work, we have to have that build folder with a bundle, and it'll expect to find a bundled Meteor application inside. It'll go ahead and run the right commands to install the NPM packages for your project, and then load up our production environment sh and settings.json files, and then start up the app. And we can specify any environment here that we want, and it will go ahead and look for that environment folder inside of the config directory. So this can be really useful, especially if we have different services we're using like Mixpanel or AWS, and we want different keys depending upon whether we're in development, production, or test. Lastly, I can start up the application and tell Meteor about another packages directory that's not local or part of the regular Meteor packages by using this packages flag and then passing the path to my package folder. So if I wanted to start up the application and have Meteor look into my source and iron folder for packages, I can start it up in development mode like this. We can also type start help to get help with the commands that we just covered. In this video, I showed you how to get clone a start script that I wrote that helps us run our Meteor applications in different environments like development, test, and production. I hope this makes your development experience across different environments a bit easier.